if you want to learn how to become a multi-millionaire and how to get your life together overnight, this video is probably not for you. But if you want to just hear thoughts, reflections, lesson learned, mistakes made from a small business owner, 21-year-old entrepreneur, then I suggest you stick around to the end of this video. So this is going to be a completely raw, uncut video. I've never done anything like this. But if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for tuning in. We're about to jump into it, but I want to explain myself first and introduce myself. My name is Josue Muniz. I run multiple small businesses who by no means are multi-million-dollar businesses. So everything I'm about to share with y'all, mistakes made, lessons learned, insights, apply to you if you are a small business owner, want to start a business, if you're between 20 to 30 because I'm 21, if you go to college because I'm a college student as well. So basically, everything I'm about to list, again, this is raw and cut. So every mistake I make, no more cutting it. Everything I say, I'm not going to edit it anymore. Everything I'm about to say from my journal, where I write all my ideas, insights, mistakes, lessons learned, failures, wins, everything I'm about to say can apply to you in one way or another. I truly believe that. Now, again, everything I'm going to say is something that I've learned, I've experienced, I've seen other people do, or I've heard, I've been mentored on this. So that doesn't mean it necessarily it can apply to you, but I promise, I don't know how long this video is going to be because this is raw, uncut. I promise if you just watch, something that I say will apply to you at some point in this video. Even if it's not in the beginning, if it's not in the middle, or it's not in the end, there will be one point or another throughout this video where I say something and you're gonna just be able to take it away maybe and apply it to you. And that's ultimately my purpose with this video. Like, I literally thought about doing this video last night. It wasn't planned because I do uploads every Saturday, and I already had another video scheduled, but I said, you know, I have this journal where I have a bunch of ideas, a bunch of insights. Why don't I just share it with someone or with y'all, and maybe you can take something from it. Maybe you don't, and maybe you already tuned out. But man, I really just hope y'all can take something from this video, because that's ultimately why I write everything. I want one day for people to be able to read this and not teach them how to make a multi-million dollars overnight or how to get their life together. But these are small steps you can take, small steps that I've taken that have allowed me to see just small increments of growth over time and experience over time. So we're gonna start from the beginning of this journal, y'all. Thank you again if you're still tuned in. I really hope you can take something from this video. So first, my first kind of section is how to lead an organization. So the first thing I put is that team members need to feel they are contributing to a vital cause. Now, before I keep going, I want to reiterate, this video, I have no idea how long it's going to be. If it's a super long video, oh, that's my sticky note. If it's a super long video, I apologize in advance, but I do promise that even if you don't watch everything and you just kind of skim through and you hear parts of it, you're going to hear something that applies to you or something that can help you in your journey, whatever your journey is, because these are not only business experiences, but it's also life, like stuff I've learned about life as a 21-year-old navigating day to day in this crazy broken world. So first, how to lead an organization, some things that I wrote down. And again, these are just things that I've learned. Doesn't mean you have to do them. I'm not putting them on y'all. Number one, team members need to feel they are contributing to a vital cause. Now, I learned that not as early as I would have liked, because I learned the hard way. Like when I would try to get, you know, people that were part of my team that I was leading with to help me with stuff, it was more like they felt like I was kind of bossing them around, which is completely valid. I probably would have felt the same. And instead, I learned that I need to make them feel like our mission is worth working towards, or our cause, our vital cause is worth working towards. So second, a way to lead an organization is also to explain the why. Meaning, you need to explain why you're telling them to do X, Y, and Z. If you just tell them to do X, Y, and Z, yeah, maybe they'll do it, like if they're your employee and you're paying them. But to get long-lasting, genuine workers and team members who are going to be with you for the long ride, you need to make them feel like they're working for something rather than for someone. So the way I did this, or ways I have done this, and I'm still doing this to this day because I'm still learning, right, is I've learned to introduce things slowly. So what that means is, instead of like, let's say I have an idea or like a connection was made, I'm not just going to push it on my team and, hey, we got to do this. It's like, I'm going to learn to implement it slowly so it doesn't overwhelm anyone, because that's the last thing I want to do. And lastly, a way I can keep them working towards a vital cause is keep sharing the mission and vision. If I'm not reminded constantly what I'm working for or working towards, then it's going to be very hard to find motivation to work for something rather than someone, because you don't want them to work for you, you want them to work with you. And so lastly, a way you can also do this is just by giving praise. Like if someone did something good, if someone did something that you didn't even ask them to do, give them praise. Like make them feel like, wow, like they get rewarded for doing stuff that is good for the company, is good for the organization. So next, you want to set organization goals. Like you want to make sure that, yes, they're working towards something, but in that working towards something, they're actually working. So a way you can do this and to build kind of like team camaraderie, I don't know if I said that right, is you can set organization goals. So for example, like some of my goals with my social media company that I help lead is like, we set follower goals, we set monetization goals, we set subscriber goals. So stuff like that can make them feel like, yeah, we made it. You know, like we can go celebrate, small celebration, give praise. So these are like kind of like benchmarks that we can reach as a team. So, oh, this one's big. This one's big. Always observe and listen first, especially if you're leading the team or you know you want to lead one day, or maybe you're not leading. Always be the person in the room to observe and listen first. Don't always just try to like, and I'm going to tell you why. The people who always seem to give their advice without people asking them are people who let their egos come in first. Meaning, if no one's asked you to even talk and you're the one talking, that just shows that you're probably just very insecure about yourself, or you're very insecure about what you're saying. So you need to like say it to yourself to prove its validity to others. So my advice is always observe and listen first, and try not to input unless you're asked, because I don't know if you've noticed, but like those are the true signs of a leader who doesn't talk when they don't need to talk and who only gives advice when asked advice. Because if you're giving advice, if you're giving your input, your opinions without being asked, it just looks like your ego's a big ego, and it looks like you want your input to be heard above everyone else's. So this one's also huge. Don't pursue leadership, pursue service. Pursue serving others, and people will follow you as a result. Now, I'm not saying you want people to follow you, because maybe you don't, or maybe you do, whatever it is. If you just keep that mentality of serving others, everything else in a team organization will follow. But you need to serve your employees, serve your customers, and serve your community. So next, how to keep leading an organization is, okay, so I'm going to show y'all literally like the steps needed to grow your way up in leadership. Whether like you're starting as like not even employed yet to like CEO or CFO of a company. So the first one is we just talked about. You need to serve. I literally put serve, serve. Meaning you need to serve like there's no tomorrow. I don't care what position you're in, or we're talking about from the lowest, right? This is how you grow in a company. You need to serve. So right now we're saying you're an employee, like doing the lowest that you can do in a company. You need to serve. You need to have the mindset of serving. Second, you need to, or when the opportunity presents itself to lead, you need to take it, because there will always be opportunities that present itself to lead. Whether you believe it or not, it can be in any shape or form, but when you are looking for them, they will present themselves to you. Even when you're not looking for them, they will present themselves to you, but they will only come as a result of the first one, which was service, serving others. So next, once you are in that position, or you were presented with that position to lead, whether like an organization or just like your section or area of the team, you need to make sure you acquire the right leaders for that team. Meaning, okay, I'm now in a position to serve, but I want to make sure I bring other people alongside me to help me serve. And I'm going to explain why in a bit. Next, you want to grab these leaders that you have now grabbed, and you want to place them in areas that correspond to their skill set or their leadership abilities. Meaning, if someone who is really good at communicating, I don't want to put them as, I don't know, like in charge of finance or something that has nothing to do with their skill set. I want to put them maybe in sales or marketing, where they can like target people, they can copyright the right things that can attract people, right? So once I acquire the right leaders, I place the leaders in the right areas. Now we're coming back to you. You're still a part of this. You become a mentor to these leaders instead of doing the day-to-day. Now these leaders do the day-to-day for you, and you just become a mentor to these leaders. So we started at the beginning. It always starts with serving, and then you go all the way up to just being a mentor. That's what CEOs are. If you really look at like CEOs like Dave Ramsey, Andy Frisella, Alex Hormozy, they don't do the day-to-day anymore. They just mentor other people and the leaders that they have selected on how to do the day-to-day operations. I'm sorry if I've been yelling or talking fast. I just have so much information, but I'm gonna try to get through all of it. And again, like just watch this. Like there is just so many gems that I believe are gems because they were gems to me that maybe can serve you. It doesn't really matter how old you are, what stage of life you're in. Like this is just life stuff. So next, check this out. This is a quote that I heard. It's what I can do right now, and as I keep scaling, I will allow myself not to do as much day-to-day work. Meaning, I'm going to work hard right now. I'm going to do the day-to-day so that hopefully one day I don't have to do as much day-to-day and I can just mentor, lead, kind of like from a third-party point of view. So here are some more quotes that really like had an impact at one point in my life recently. And again, I didn't mention, but these are things that I've learned in the past 6 months. So this is not things I learned when I was like 15 or 12. This is like current stuff that I've learned that have helped me take small increments of growth in my businesses and my small businesses, but also just in life. So number one, set your goals so high that you'll fail above everyone else's success. So what that means is that it's like the saying, shoot for the moon, land among the stars. That I say, this is my opinion, I think you should go for the highest possible unbelievable goal that you can think of, because even if you fail, that process of trying to get to that goal will still leave you at a higher level than you were before. So that's what it means. Set your goals so high that even if you fail, you'll fail above everyone else's success. You'll fail above everyone else's. Oh man, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna say it again. Set your goals so high that you'll fail above everyone else's success. Second, you get tested the most when it's time for you to level up. Do not break. I don't know if you've noticed, and I've noticed this recently in my life. A lot of just troubles, a lot of day-to-day stuff has just been kind of like not going the best it could be, but I know that that's God preparing me, saying, hey, if you can overcome this, then maybe it's time for you to level up. But if you're not someone who can overcome, you know, when troubles present you, then how can you be ready for the next level? That's just God preparing you for the next level. So take a second, like, to really analyze your life. Like, am I going through something hard that's recently come up? Have I been going through hard stuff my whole life? Then maybe it's just God telling me it's time to level up. It's been time for me to level up. Last quote, believe so hard that it feels like you already have it. This one is kind of huge, and I'm going to explain why. So one of the companies that I help lead recently went through a pay raise, or like, not a pay raise, let me rephrase that. We recently went through an income increase, meaning how much net total we were taking. At the end of the year, our profits went up, and it's kind of really hard to explain, and I don't want to sound egotistical because I'm not. Again, I don't want any of this to seem like I'm a millionaire, I have everything figured out, because I am far from that. I'm probably the last person you should be taking advice from, but here we are. So believe so hard that it feels like you already have it. So when we had that profit increase, I kid you not, like maybe 7 months before that happened, I was already working as if that already had happened. Meaning, like, I wasn't, you know, like working over our budget or anything like that, but I was already with the mindset like, oh, we already have that, let's just keep going. Like, let's work as if we already have that. So what that means is, like, if you have a goal, if you have like something you're trying to achieve, you need to believe so hard in it that it feels like you already have it. Like, it's already second nature. Like, you can already like have it. Like, you already have what you already want. Even though you don't already have it, you already know you're going to get to that level, basically. Like, you already believe it so hard. So check this out. This is pretty interesting. What's next? And again, not all of this is business. Probably I think more towards the end is going to be like life stuff. So if you want to skip to the end and do that, you can feel free to do so. But it's kind of all scattered either way. So micro factors that influences scale. Check this out. So personal brand is everything. If you're confused about what personal brand is, I'm going to give you an example. I'm Josue Muñiz, right? That's my personal brand. Everything I post is to represent Josue Muñiz. That's what I mean by personal brand. When you see Nike, Nike is the personal brand. When you see Under Armour, Under Armour is the personal brand. So these are micro factors that influence scaling a personal brand. So there's a pyramid to this. Check this out. The first one is generalist. It's when you are basically first starting out as your personal brand. Maybe you're just like barely starting to post content or whatever it is. Like, you're just starting out in this field of building your personal brand. The second is you become a specialist in your field. So whatever your niche is, I'm gonna use me for example. I'm doing fitness, right? That's part of my niche. That's part of my network. I become now a specialist maybe after a couple months. I'm sure you can put time frames to this, but let's say after 6 months, I can become a specialist because, you know, I've been posting content. I maybe have like 1 or 2 clients. I become now a little bit more experienced in this field. Next, after you achieve being a specialist, you're now known as an expert. Now, experts are those that have been in it for at least 1 to 2 years, and they're people who, you know, if you go up and talk to them, you know they're gonna have an answer for what you're about to ask them that has to do with their niche or what they're trying to do, which is, for me, fitness. If you were to ask me about fitness, I could probably answer it. So next, and these are the last two, the next one is authority. So these are people, like, if I had to say an example, actually I don't have an example. I have an example for the next one because the next one is higher. So authority is just higher than expert, meaning like these people, what they say is like gold. What they say is true. There can be nothing false to what they say. Like, you can trust your life based on what they say if it has to do with your niche or whatever it is you're trying to find out that they are an expert in, that they are an authority in. So lastly is celebrity status. So generalist, specialist, experts, authority, celebrity. These are the 5 ways you can grow in your pyramid of self-brand, in your personal brand. So a celebrity, you can think of like Dave Ramsey, who's an expert in finances and not being in debt. Alex Hormozy, who is an expert in, celebrity in like scaling your business and how to take like $0 to $100 million in profit. Or you can think of someone like Andy Frisella, who is a celebrity when it comes to like getting your life together, like being real. So these are people that, you know, they are like, they have to have bodyguards with them. They have a $1 million net worth, $1 billion even. And these people, it's not so much that like they can like I guess the way I can explain it is like, they're not everyday people you can just book for your show anymore. Like these people cost, I think I saw on Andy Frisella's website the other day, he does speaking engagements because he's also a motivational speaker. His price is $300,000 for a 1 hour motivational speaking. And if it's on Zoom, like if you want to do like an online Zoom with your team and him, it's $100,000. So these are people that can charge way above than the average person or any other person really, because now they're celebrities in their field. So that's also another thing, which is my next thing. You can now charge more for the service you're providing, but it only happens when you raise your status, when you raise your level of personal brand. So for example, like if I'm just being real, I'd say right now I'm like a specialist in this 5-step pyramid. I think I've passed the level of generalist because I've been doing this for 2 years. So I feel like I'm specialist. So my next would be expert, then authority, then celebrity. So how do you become an authority / celebrity? The last two. How do you reach Andy Frisella, Joe Rogan status? How do you reach these people? So how you do this is you can either start a podcast, because if you look at it, Andy has a podcast, Dave Ramsey has a podcast, Alex has a podcast, Layla Harmozy has a podcast. All these successful people who are celebrities / authorities in their field have podcasts. So that's number one. Another thing they all have are books. If you write a book, it shows you know what you're talking about most of the time. Next, it has to do with the stages you speak from. So Andy, if he's charging $300,000 to speak on a stage, it's probably to a very good audience or for a very good company. So it matters what stages you speak from. Next, the network you're connected to also depends if you're going to be an authority / celebrity. And lastly, starting a YouTube channel is key. Now, one thing that all of these have in common is all of these provide longevity that will be here even after you die. So even after Dave Ramsey dies, we can still go back and listen to all his podcasts, all the stages he's spoken from, all the books he's written. We can go back and listen to all of them because these provide longevity even after you die, meaning like they will become legends. Like our third generation from now will still probably be able to see their content. Next, we're moving now more towards the like entrepreneur money side of things, which isn't really my favorite. I'll admit, maybe like last year it was because I was all about money, but my mindset has shifted after learning basically everything I've written down. And this isn't everything, but this is most of everything. So next, your income is your most important wealth building tool. Again, these are just going to be random stuff that I've learned. It doesn't have to do with what we just talked about or what we're going to talk about. But your income is your most important wealth building tool. It's the only way a billionaire became a billionaire. It's the only way a millionaire ever became a millionaire. They had income. I'm going to check if this is still recording. Give me a sec. Okay, so I cut it just because I got up. I didn't mean to cut it, but I turned it off on accident, but we're right back. So your income is your most important wealth building tool. It's really the only way you're ever going to gain a large amount of money. A millionaire did not become a millionaire without income. A billionaire is only a billionaire because of his income. His income is worth his net total is worth $1 billion. So what am I saying? Your income is very important. Do not give your income away to things you don't need. Now, there's a difference between needs and wants. Needs are things that you need, right? Like a car to get around, a house, food on your table, whatever it is. But wants only make sense, like a new car, a book, whatever it is. Wants, a camera, wants only make sense when the needs or when the budget that you put around your life allows you to pay for those wants, meaning you do need a budget. And I think I wrote something about that. So next, leveling up. Leveling up as a person, man, this one's huge. Because in the beginning when I was like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur or whatever, I was like, I need to level up. I need to keep getting wins under my belt. I need to keep, do I have water? I need to keep succeeding. But what I learned is that experience points, not only wins, experience points can also allow you to level up. So I'm going to give you an example. Have you ever played a game where like you gained experience points and enough experience points allowed you to get to that next level, like level 2, and then level 2 experience points, like doing tasks or like doing this job or this mission, whatever it was, gained you enough experience points to get to level 3. So what I'm saying is keep trying stuff, keep trying new stuff, even if you don't, quote unquote, win at them, you still gained experience levels, meaning nothing is a loss because enough experience levels can still get you to the next level, can still count as a win because enough experience levels, just like in the game, can get you to level 2, get you to level 3, so I see nothing as a loss in my life, nothing as like, I didn't succeed in that. I learned from it. I gained experience levels. And if I do that enough, I can eventually get to that next win. Because it's like this. You can have someone who is a finance business major, but if they never actually start a business, all they really did was just gain a bunch of knowledge that they never put into application. So yes, knowledge is important. I'm not saying it's not, but application is just as important because it gains you experience, real world levels that you can use to level up yourself. Instead of just taking wins, which is not realistic because you're not always going to take wins, you can also take losses that give you experience levels to level up. So I wrote this on the 5th. Today, I believe is I think it's the 11th, but I wrote the date for this. What is success for me? Like, why am I doing all this? Why am I sitting in front of a camera, like 90-degree sun, weather, hungry? I want to eat. But I'm doing this because I love doing this and I love talking to y'all. But what is success for me? Like, why am I doing this? And I wrote 3 things. And maybe this can help you kind of outline like why you want to be an entrepreneur, why you are an entrepreneur, or why you have goals. Like, what is the point of living for you? And for me, it's 3 things. Number 1, sharing the word of God. I hope that through everything I do, content, business, family, whatever it is, like cutting the lawn, it's through sharing. It's for the purpose of sharing the word of God. Second, what is success for me? Providing for my family and friends. Third, making the world a better place. Those 3 things are why I'm sitting in front of a camera, why I am posting every Saturday, why I am trying to post reels 4 times a week, why I'm trying to grow my small businesses, because it's those 3 things that wake me up every morning, give me a drive, give me a motivation, and give me discipline ultimately. So maybe it's time for you to sit down and really plan out, like, what are the 3 things that are success for you? Maybe it's money, maybe it's fame, maybe it's not, whatever it is, maybe it's to make your parents happy, whatever it is, you need to outline those 3 things before you take another step forward. Next, this was just an idea. So soon I hope to start like a Josué Muñiz podcast, like a Josué Muñiz show. And I think what I want to do is like just talk about like real world stuff from a Christian perspective. And not even just like real world stuff, but like maybe just like stuff in general, like fitness, media management, whatever it is, like stuff that I'm doing, or even just like stuff that's going on in the world. But here are just some things I wrote down for it. Maybe if like you're going to start a podcast, this is going to apply to you, or you have a podcast. So basically what I want to do is start like a network. So basically I want to start a podcast. I want to teach other people how to start a podcast and then bring those people under like my podcast network. And then like they teach other people under our podcast network. So it's like a never ending leadership cycle. Like I become a mentor to them. They bring other people. They become mentors to them. They bring other people and they become mentors to them. So it's like a never ending cycle. But that was just an idea I wrote down. Yeah. Okay. So the biggest thing about networking events, like if you're ever invited to go to a networking event, and I've been to several, and they've all been very beneficial. But one thing I've learned from going to multiple network events, and I'm going to the Think Media, Las Vegas in 10 days, I believe, and then to Africa in the summer in a couple months, to network, to, be with other people doing that I'm doing. The biggest thing I've learned, the biggest benefit is not so much the information you gain from like the keynote speakers or like the food you eat. It's the connections you make. Because ultimately, I'm going to be real with you. Being in business, or just not even succeeding in life, but getting the most out of life is about the people you know. Because if you drop someone in the middle of the Sahara Desert and tell them to start a business, or you drop someone in downtown Dallas and tell them to start a business, it's going to be 2 very different outcomes. Because 1, you have the opportunity to make connections because it's all about who you know. Meaning a lot to where I am today, and I'm not very far. I'm not gonna fake it till I make it. This is me being real. I'm not very far in my journey, but the progress that I have made has come from ultimately, to begin with, from people that I've known, people that have gotten me connected to this, and then that got me connected to that, and then that got me connected to him, her, whatever it was, that thing, whatever it was. So ultimately, I highly suggest going to networking events for the things that you want to grow in, like your niche or whatever entrepreneur you want to do, or business or whatever it is. Because you want to make connections, because ultimately those connections are what lead to taking baby steps of growth in your business, is what I've learned. Like if I never went to college, I wouldn't have started all this, to be honest. I don't think so, because I made connections there that started all of this. And college is like one big networking event if you really think about it. So that's why I also encourage going out of your hometown. Like even if it's just like an hour away from your hometown, like it forces you to make connections, forces you to meet other people. Okay, I don't think we have much left. Or maybe we do. Again, I don't know how long this video is going to be. But man, if you're still watching, like, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, I really want to do more of these videos where I just brain dump everything that I've been learning. Because, like, I feel like maybe a lot of people are putting on, like, a fake facade, like, of being super successful and then sharing what they have learned. But I'm not super successful. I don't have millions of dollars. Like, I am figuring it out day by day. And I'm trying to spread what I've learned day by day to maybe some of y'all who can connect with what I'm saying. So how to grow your personal brand. So this one is key, man. If you are doing something right now, I suggest you stop what you're doing and listen to this, because this was very eye-opening for me. And this is, again, this is not something I learned years ago. This is like 6 months ago or like 4 months ago. There's a difference between telling people what they should do and sharing the things that you know. Meaning there's a difference between preaching and teaching. And trust me, I've done my fair share of preaching. Like literally, I preach on a, month-to-month basis, like to congregations. So I know that, and I've learned that there's a difference between preaching and teaching. So there's two models to this. This is how I versus this is what you should do. Preaching, that first one was teaching. This is how I, the second one is preaching. This is what you should do. So that's why I specified in the beginning. I'm not here to preach to y'all. I'm not here to tell you what works and what doesn't, because I'm still figuring it out myself. But I'm just teaching y'all what I have learned, what's worked, what hasn't, what I hope to learn also. So there's 3 steps to this, to how you can become credible to teaching others. Don't ever try to preach to other people unless you're like a pastor. That's kind of your job. But if you're just someone like Alex, Dave Ramsey, who are like trying to teach other people what they've done, 3 things you can do to do this. Do stuff. Number 2, talk about what you did. Number 3, then do bigger stuff. Everything, guys, is about, I'm trying not to yell because like, I feel like there's other people around me, but doing stuff is how you gain credibility under your belt. Alex Hormozi, who now has probably millions of dollars under his name, he always says he was only able to get to that level and now teach other people about getting to that level is because he learned about every single level. If he's at level 100 right now, he literally went from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip a few, 100. Like he went through every single level to get to level 100. He didn't skip any. So what I'm saying is that the only way you can ever teach someone is if you, number 1, do stuff, like you actually get up and do what your crazy wildest dreams are. Talk about what you did. And then lastly, go and do even bigger stuff. And then talk about what you did, bigger stuff. That's all Alex did. If you look back at Alex's videos, Dave Ramsey's videos from years ago, they don't have the setup they have now. They don't have the persona they have now. They don't have the millions of dollars they had now. They were just going, teaching. Bigger stuff, teaching. Bigger stuff. So that's what I hope to do with y'all too. Like right now that I'm small, I think it's a benefit because like I feel like a lot of people can resonate because maybe a lot of us haven't started businesses or we want to. I can resonate with y'all. Like I connect with whoever's watching this video. Like I'm living on the same earth that you live. I bleed the same blood that you bleed. So another way you can word this two model difference is number 1, here's what I did versus here's what you should do. And then lastly, a way you can model the teaching perspective is you can say, this is what I realized for myself, and then do what you realize. So this is literally like the language I'm trying to share with y'all. I'm not trying to preach to y'all right now. and I'm sorry if I speak kind of like fast and kind of like I'm trying to shout. Like, no, I'm just passionate about this stuff, man. So I'm sorry. But yeah, this is what I realized. Like, you need to tell people about what you've learned, not try to instill what you think would work for them. Or like try to like, oh, I'm some millionaire, so this is what you should do. Like, no, Alex never presents himself in that way. Like, go watch Alex Hormozi's videos. It's always like, this is what I've learned, or this is what I think you should do based on what I've done, or this is what's worked for me. Like, he never tells people what to do. He always just shares what his life experiences have been. So that's key if you want to really connect with people and build your personal brand. So next, putting team members in the correct positions, like if you're a head employer or you're the boss of your foundation or business, will allow for them to grow and be passionate about what their position is. So if I said this in the beginning, if I have someone who's good at finances and I put them in like networking, that's not going to probably motivate them to work that hard or really might make them passionate about what they're doing. But if I put someone who's good at finances in the finance committee or the finance team, then that's going to make more sense for them. So before you hire anyone, you want to see, of course, like what the needs are for your business. Like, do we need a sales? Do we need a finance? Whatever it is, do we need networking? And then you want to find people with that skill set. Don't just go find your friends. Don't just go find your family members, because I learned that the hard way. Like, yeah, it's good at work. I work with some of my family members. Like, most of my team members are family members, but each one has a specific skill set that contributes to the overall mission of the team, right? So, oh, this one's big. Y'all, if y'all are washing dishes, because I always wash dishes and listen to podcasts, stop what you're doing. Or maybe there's only one person watching right now. Thank you for sticking around, man. Or woman, you're a trooper. This is how to get customers. I'm gonna spill y'all the secret sauce. And that doesn't mean I've done this correctly or I've done them all, but it all makes sense to me. There's only 5 ways to get customers. Number 1, you reach out to friends and family individually. Number 2, you reach out to strangers individually. Number 3, you post content. Number 4, you run paid ads. And number 5, you can run newsletters. So these are the only physical, mental, spiritual ways to get customers on this green earth. Anything else you can think of is just micro of these things. Like they just go under these things, under these, I call them the 5 pillars of how to get customers. So next, ways to leverage other people to help you get customers. There's 4 ways you can do this. You can do referrals where customers tell other people and then maybe they can get like a commission for the people they bring in or something like that. Next are affiliates. So other businesses can refer customers to you, or you can, like, if you use Young LA, which is the biggest lifestyle clothing brand in the world right now, what they do is they get athletes to promote their brand for them, and then whatever, like they give them a code, like code Jesse or whatever, who is an athlete for Young LA. People that use code Jesse for checkout on the website of Young LA gives Jesse like a 15% commission, like physical money to his bank account, but it also gives that other percent of the commission to Young LA. So like both people win, but you do get more exposure for your brand because now you have someone who supports your brand and is willing to sell for your brand instead of you just selling yourself. Next, you can hire agencies that get you customers. There's actually agencies out there that you can hire or hire to get you customers, to find you people that correlate with your preferred customer. Next, you can hire employees to do the first 4 ways of getting customers. So the 4 for 4 Wendy's or what? Bro. Those first 4 ways I listed of how to get customers in the beginning, like 30 seconds ago, you can hire employees to do the first 4. Meaning you can hire employees to reach out to friends and family. You can hire employees to reach out to strangers. You can hire employees to run content. You can hire employees to run paid ads, or you can hire employees to do newsletters, which is, I think that's the real key. Like you want to get people to do those first 4 things for you instead of you doing them. Then, because I've learned that, like, yeah, I did a lot of the hands-on very early, and I still do a lot of the hands-on, but I have learned to take a step back and learn how to delegate more and find people to do the hands-on so I can learn how to grow us all together as a business. Because if you're a leader in your business, or you want to be, if you're so focused on the hands-on, you want to find ways to get people to do those hands-on, make them believe in the mission, make them believe in the vision, have them be passionate about working for you and working with you, so you can take a step back and learn how to scale the business rather than learning how to work in the business. If you're spending all your time working in the business and not on the business, then that's probably not the best time, or the time that you could be spending doing your business, right? Okay, so next. This is, okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got next. Okay, yeah, we are coming to the end here. Let me just keep thumbing through these things. I've written down a lot of stuff that doesn't really make sense. Okay, check this out. So here's a quote, or a couple of quotes actually. So the first one is, action follows focus. So wherever your focus is pointed towards, your action will follow. Next, this is a quote that I've tried in the past couple of months to live by, and I hope to continue to keep living by it, but I didn't in the beginning. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't live by this quote in the beginning. So if you haven't been living by it, maybe you can live by it once you hear it. Earn as much as you can, save as much as you can, and give as much as you can. So my whole purpose now to gain more income and profits for our company is just so I can give it away to people in need, give it to people that are, or charities that I believe in, whatever it is. Like, my whole point is not to become richer or gain more wealth for me personally, but it's so I can give to other people. So earn as much as you can, so you can save as much as you can, and so you can also give as much as you can. Next quote, dream big, begin small, but start now. Stop waiting till tomorrow. Like Shia LaBeouf said, just do it. Next, keep going even when you don't feel like it or when it feels like you're doing nothing. This is something I also live by. Doing something, how does it go? I forgot. Doing something, or I'll say it like this. Productive work is better than busy work, but busy work is still better than no work. So something is always better than nothing. Like, if you don't even know where to start with launching a business maybe, or the next steps for your business, like, just do something that you think could lead you towards doing that. Or comment down below and I would love to help you, like, what the next steps are, how to start a business. Like, I have a whole guideline that I've been, showing, people that want to start businesses and stuff. Not saying it's the best, not saying like it has a 100% success rate, but at least it's something, right? The point is to just start and do something. Next, how do you stay relevant? Like, really think about it. Like, all the way from rappers to like business owners, like, how do they stay relevant for so long? Think about the ones that are still relevant, of course. because a lot of them fall off. Like, it's so easy to fall off or to not be relevant. So here are ways that I think that you could stay relevant. And I've already listed a couple of them in the past minutes. Number one, you could launch a business, because if you make a successful business, well, it'll be here like to your children, the grandchildren, like it can stay like in the family, or it can outsource. But a business is a way you can keep your spirit in the world, basically. Next, you can start a podcast, because like I said, Dave Ramsey's podcast will still be around for probably the next, like even after he dies, like 100 years after that, because he just is so good at it. But he's built such a following like that, it resonates with everyone. Next, you can launch a show, like either like a reality TV show or like I don't know, like a show, like something that's on TV, because TV is going to be here for a long time. So you want to do things on platforms, but things that will be here for a long time, even after you're gone. So next, in that same concept, in that same mindset, write a book. Meaning books will probably be here. I don't know how much longer we're going to like be reading books as a humanity people, but I do think books will be here for a bit longer. So write a book. People that write books and have the authority to do so are, they're probably very good books. So if you already have longevity in the business, or like, I wouldn't say write a book, 1 year or 2 years. Like right now, I don't have enough authority or knowledge to write a book, but I do hope in the next, say, 10 to 15 years to write a book, maybe multiple books. But you need longevity under your belt to write a book. And to do really any of the, not all the things I just listed, but at least a book. You do need some longevity. So next. Oh, this one's kind of a mind-boggling one. Let me see if it's still recording.
Yes, it's cool. That's great.
Yeah, it is. Okay. We have 3 more pages left, y'all. Stick with me, man. Hopefully y'all can take something from this. Longevity/growth is the same thing as quantity over quality. Meaning, doing something for so long is important. It gives you credibility. And being intentional with, let's say I spend the next 2 years from now building my business. I want to make sure that, yes, I don't quit. I spend the next 2 years building my business, but I want to make sure that the time I spend every hour of my day, or not every day, but the next 2 years are intentional minutes. Like I'm actually growing and not just doing like busy work. Busy work is still better than no work, but you want to try to do as much productive work as you can. But that same concept is the same as quantity, which is the longevity, and quality. So you want to have both. People always say quality over quantity, which is right. But sometimes you want both. Most of the times you want both, because you want to build credibility in the business or whatever it is you're pursuing. But you also want to make sure you're doing like progressive credibility. Like you're growing also. Like you're doing stuff that is intentional, not just like putting minutes on the clock, basically. So longevity/growth, and you can write this down. And it makes more sense when you write it down, like you see it. Longevity/growth is the same thing as quantity/quality. So no caffeine after 4 p.m. I wrote this. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you have trouble sleeping, it's probably because you've been drinking a lot of caffeine after 4 p.m.
Nice.
So again, it's more about who you know. I already listed that about, like engagements, events. It's about who you know. So I highly recommend, if you can afford it, if it's something that is like, you don't want to like spend all your money either on this, but it is helpful. Like it's about who you know. Be intentional about making connections, talk to new people, DM new people that can benefit you in your growth. So it's about who you know. So how do we get more connected? Like, how is it about it's who you know? I said that wrong, but why is it important that it's about who you know? So the first way you can get connected with other people is through conferences. Next, through forming your own private community. So for example, I've spent the past, I think, year building and nurturing a private content creator community, meaning these are people who are doing the same things I'm doing in terms of content, or like other niches, but they're making and posting content regularly. So it's just a community where like one day I hope that this community can grow big enough where we can like have meetups in person and like just share ideas, like bring speakers, have events, have workshops and stuff like that. That would be really cool. So form your own private communities. Next, events/networking events that we already listed. And then lastly, it's just about intentionality. Like you can make your own communities and meet new people wherever you go. Like you're bound to see someone new every day that you walk outside of your house, So lastly, not lastly, but close to being last, in a learning space, like in a learning space of mind, don't shut anything down just because it's different from your view. Only shut it down if it's harming you and your views. But if it's in a passive way, then be open-minded. Like, for example, there's this new show on Netflix that has to do with Moses. Actually, this is a bad example. Kind of. But like people, I haven't seen it, but I saw reviews and people said that like in the first 10 minutes, there's like, it's like a commentary type. So like there's like the life of Moses. Oh, I said that weird. Moses. But then there's people like theologians speaking over what's happening. And one theologian said, like, God isn't the only God in the Bible. And then boom, that just automatically made people shut off on what could possibly be like a very informative show on the life of Moses. So my whole point is, like, I don't think that's very harming from that guy's perspective to say for viewers, like, I'm a Christian and I'm firm in my belief. So if I were to watch the show and I hear that guy say that, I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not gonna pause the show and be like, oh my gosh, is God real because he said that? Like, no, I'm gonna be like, okay, that kind of bothered me, but because I'm in a learning space right now, like, I want to soak up everything I learn and just see different point of views. I want to be open-minded. I'm going to keep watching the show probably because I want to hear what the life of Moses is from all these different perspectives. But if you're someone who is just like so close-minded and like you get, you know, hurt after every little thing that's not with your views, you're not going to learn much in this world. You know what I mean? So next, Alex Hormozy said this: make the perfect sandwich. Make something so valuable that marketing and all the other stuff doesn't even matter. Meaning, focus so much on making a quality product or service that marketing, sales, finance doesn't even matter because you know your product is worth it. And that's something that I messed up in the beginning. Like, I focused more on reaching people, like telling them about my product, service, but I didn't really focus on making sure that product or service was the perfect sandwich. Like, that sandwich didn't need mayo, that sandwich didn't need ketchup, like it was perfect on its own. But now I'm focusing more towards that, like perfecting my product / service, because I know it's important now. Like, it's about what you can offer. And that's going to go into a little bit about the next couple of things. Man, my throat is so dry. I should have brought my water. Okay. I think this is like a 2-hour long video. I don't know how long I've been sitting here. The sun is making me crazy. But next, deliberate practice. What is deliberate practice? Take this for example. I played basketball for 4 years, high school. Now, I can say this with confidence. Maybe you were in my basketball team watching this, so I don't know if you'll believe me, but in my mind, I think I was always one of the hardest workers, because that's my belief. Like, I want to be the best at everything I can be. So, or not even if I can't be the best at it, I want to make sure I'm the hardest worker at it. So that was kind of my mindset with basketball. Like, I was training, I was doing CrossFit, I was lifting weights. I literally became like a machine. Like, I can show you pictures that I probably won't pop them up, but I was a machine. Like, I was a basketball machine. But for some reason, there was always guys on my team that were better at basketball but didn't work as hard as me. So I was like, what the heck is going on? But I learned something called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is doing the things that you're not good at in order to become better at everything as a whole. Meaning, and this is probably why I wasn't the best basketball player on my team, even though I probably worked the hardest, is because if I was just practicing my three-pointers for the 2 hours I was in the gym, and I'm already a decent three-point shooter, but for some reason I can't make a right-hand layup to save my life, I should have been practicing the right-hand layups until I got them down, instead of spending all the time on things that I was already good at. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't realize this until after I finished playing basketball, and after, like, I didn't have a chance to get better at it anymore. Because all I did was focus on the things I was already good at, because it felt comfortable, because it felt good to work at the things I was already good at instead of working at the things that I wasn't good at, which was what you should be doing. So you can apply this in anything: business, family, friends, relationships. Do the things you're not good at in order to get good at everything as a whole. Because most likely the things you're good at, you can like take a break from those every now and then and focus on the things that you're not good at. And that's called deliberate practice. So next, I'm gonna go on a freaking like rampage right here, because these are just back to back. Yeah, last page, y'all. Last page. Let me show you if it's still recording.
That's it.
Okay, so I had to do a small cut there because the camera only records up to 30 minutes and it was like 25 minutes, so it was gonna stop on me. So, if you're tired of living an ordinary life, stop doing ordinary things. What's the point of allowing my mind to indulge in thoughts that I do not allow my body to participate in? If you're someone who struggles with temptation and urges, which should be everyone, if you just commit to not acting on those urges, then you can follow that by saying, what's the point of even looking at stuff that can activate those urges if I already know I'm not going to commit to actually acting out those urges, you know? Next, right now I'm in a phase where I'm doing so I can learn, but I'm also learning so I can do. Think about that. Take a second. Play that back if you need to. Another thing, this is called brain dumping. Like, all these words that I put on my journal, I've brain dumped them over the past 6 months. So I've learned that this is something that you can actually do with your teams, or like your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whatever it is, people that you're around with. You can brain dump, meaning like you can tell your teams, hey, over the next 3 months, I want you to write down everything you think that can improve our team bond, our team product, our team quality, our team service. I want you to write it down or type it out, and then at our quarterly meeting, whatever it is, I want us to just brain dump, talk about everything, see what we can use, see what we can weed out, and just brain dump, because that literally brings like new ideas to come into practice and new mindsets also. Check this out. You cannot offer a quality product to nobody, but you can offer a low quality product to anyone. You cannot offer a quality product to nobody, meaning you need people to offer a quality product to, but at the same time, you cannot offer a low quality product to anyone. So you have to make sure that yes, you have people to reach out to, but that your product quality also matches it. You get what I'm saying? Like it's not either or, it's a both end. So how do you maximize your customer relationships? Like, how do you keep nurturing customers? This is what I've learned. You need to change your mindset to this. Instead of thinking of what's in it for me, think about what's in it for them. Like, is my product actually good enough to sell to them? And if it's not, I would suggest, like, don't think about getting new customers. Like, you probably shouldn't have any if your product is not to the point where, like, wow, this is actually benefiting them more than the money they're going to provide me for the product. You know what I mean? Like have a mind of service, like have a genuine heart for the people you're going to be serving. And that's how you make sure that you're going to have them for a long time. Next, and this is something Dave Ramsey said, if you have a team, if you have people that you work with or work under you, create budgets for all your teams. Obviously make one for yourself, see that it works, get knowledgeable on how to create a budget, but then spend time one by one creating budgets for everyone on your team. And the reason is this: when you bring someone on your team and payroll comes into play and paying them comes into play, if they do not know how to manage their money wisely, you're going to be the bad guy to them, because if once they run out of their money or they're in debt or whatever because they don't know how to manage their money and they're your employee, you become the bad guy, because now they're saying, man, this guy doesn't pay me enough and that's why my life sucks, or that's why I don't have enough money. If only this guy gave me $500 more, my life would be so much better, but he underpays me. And the reality is, like, no, you're not underpaying them. They just don't know how to manage their money wisely. So if you can commit to making sure everyone on your team has a sustainable budget and they learn how to sustain that budget, then no one will see you as the bad guy, no matter how much you pay them, because they know how to allocate their money correctly and how to use their money correctly. Obviously, don't pay them like $1 either, because they can't budget $1. But if you're paying them enough to make ends meet or like to live a comfortable life, and they're not using it wisely, that's on them, but they won't realize that, and they'll just label you as the bad guy. So that's why I suggest taking time to making sure everyone on your team has a budget that they can work off of. So that's just for them. Like, that's just to make their lives better. It's not just for you, but it's mostly for them. Another quote: fail early, fail often, and fail forward. Fail early, fail often, but fail forward. So meaning, like I said in the beginning, like every failure is an experience point that can get you to the next level. So you're going to fail. You're going to fail very often. You're going to fail very early, but make sure you fail forward. Make sure you're always failing and you're going forward. You're failing, but you're moving forward. You're learning from the failure, but you're moving forward. Next, and this is something my boy Hector on our Snapchat community said. He slid up and said this, and I shared it with everyone. If you get 1% better every day in anything, in 1 year, your craft will have increased 365%. Wow, that is insane. If I got 1% better at business, in a year, I will have gotten 365% better at business. That is pretty insane. So next, you want to make sure you master the product / the funnel system of how you get the customers to the product before you bring on a marketing / creative specialist. Meaning you want to make sure your product is worth the people that your marketing / creative specialist is going to bring to you. Next, this is also how you build a team together. So you can create a budget for everyone that, builds team camaraderie and make sure everyone is good on your team financially. But you want to make sure that you don't want to make sure, but you can make sure that everyone on your team listens to podcasts that maybe you send or your leadership sends or that someone else recommends, and that you read books as a team, meaning that you all are growing together. Meaning, like, I don't think as a leader, I should be the only one listening to podcasts about growth or whatever it is I'm trying to grow in, or reading books about that. I think if I find a book as the leader that's valuable, I should share it with my whole team. If I find a book or a podcast that's valuable to me as an employee, I should share it with my leader and the whole team. Like, I want to make sure that everyone's growing. Like, I shouldn't just gatekeep all this information. If that was the purpose of that, if I lived with that mentality, then I wouldn't be sitting and talking for an hour with no water because I'm so thirsty with no water to y'all. Like, I would just be gatekeeping this. But why gatekeep it when I can just share it with y'all and we can all grow together, So next, your business grows when you grow your personal brand. Remember those 5 levels of your personal brand, all the way from generalist to celebrity, as you're growing, your business that you launch as a result of your personal brand also grows. Have a delusional belief in yourself. Have such a crazy belief in yourself, because even if you fail, no, even if you reach for the moon and you don't reach the moon, you're still going to land among the stars. Like, you'll still have reached a higher level than the level you were before. Last page, y'all. Thank you for sticking around. Brother, Mr. Beast personal brand. What I meant by this is that if you look at Mr. Beast now has 2 businesses, maybe more, that he's launched, called Feastables and Mr. Beast Burgers. No. Yes, Feastables is the chocolate bar, and Mr. Beast Burgers is a burger company. I think that's what it's called. But basically, he launched a burger company and a chocolate bar company. Like, that's so random when he does, like, YouTube videos. Like, he's a YouTuber. So you can really analyze this and ask the question, like, how did he do this? Why did he do this? Now, I'm going to give you the response, the answer. I believe this is the answer. Mr. Beast has spent, I think, 11 years now nurturing his content, nurturing the people he follows, to where he now has millions of videos. Every video he releases now will get 1 million views, even if it's just him saying, hello, brother. Like, or like him giving a person $1 million, because he's Mr. Beast. He's built his personal brand. And as a result, he's been able to launch 2 businesses, maybe more, that have nothing to do with what he posts in his content. But because he's already nurtured his following, he's already built that camaraderie. I don't know if that's how you say it. Hopefully it is. He's already built that following with his, people that follow him. He's already nurtured them, that if he were to launch a airline business tomorrow, it would probably be very highly successful. If you were to launch a lawn care company next week, it would probably be very highly successful, because he's Mr. Beast. He's already built that following. Meaning, if you can make it all the way from generalist, or not even all the way to celebrity, like if you can just increase in your level of personal brand and you launch a business, you have a better probability of that business doing well, rather than starting a business from scratch and nobody knowing you, because you haven't posted any content, you haven't talked to anybody, you haven't made connections. So the reason Mr. Beast can launch any business he wants to in the world right now is because he's built time becoming Mr. Beast. So your personal brand, your business will grow if your personal brand grows. And lastly, guys, I'm going to end with this, and then we're going to call it a day. Longevity is key. I only have 2 years doing this, so maybe, I know I don't know a lot. I learn something new every day. I make a new mistake every day, but I also do good every day, right? Like, I get small wins, but I also get small losses every day. Longevity is key. And this is why I believe that it's better than being an overnight success, because I'm gonna use myself for an example. 2 years when I posted my first reel, or my first YouTube video 2 years ago. If that video just for some reason went crazy and I became like a multi-million subscriber YouTube account, and I have all this money coming towards me, all these people, brand deals, whatever it is, I promise you I would have no idea how to manage any of it, and 99.9% sure that I would have lost it all and been right from square zero. So the reason I'm thankful to God and to y'all for keeping me like very humble and very slow in my growth is because it's been teaching me day by day, month by month, year by year in this 2-year process, the things I need to learn in order to keep getting to the next levels. But if I had become like an overnight success, like everything handed to me on a silver platter in the beginning, I would have no idea, because there's things I learned last week that if I had been given all the success in the beginning, I wouldn't have been able to learn and been able to manage. The thing is, like, everything I've been able to learn has allowed me to manage everything that I've been given, everything that God has blessed me with, which is I'm thankful for, you know what I mean? But that's why I think longevity is key. If you really think about all the successful people like Mr. Beast, Andy Frisella, Alex Hormozy, they have spent 10 plus years in their niche or in their business growing it up. And if you look back, like, go look at their startup videos. Like, they talk about having no money, recording videos in their mom's basement to where they are now, because longevity is key. Do not wish for overnight success. Wish for a path where you can learn how to take losses and wins and learn lessons from them that can keep leveling you up. And with that, y'all, if y'all want me to make more videos like this where I just brain dump, because I'm going to keep writing, like, I will never stop writing, I don't think so, like, new insights, new ideas, losses, wins. If you want more videos like this, let me know in the comments. Like, let me know something you learned, like, even if it was just a quote or something huge that I said in this that stood out to you. Because I just want us to learn together. I don't want to gatekeep. I want us to all grow together. Because maybe you have something to provide to me also in the comments, like something that you've learned that maybe could apply to me as well. So I'll catch y'all next Saturday, man.